Hello and welcome into this edition of Jayhawk Sports Talk. I'm Matt Gasper. On today's show, we'll get you caught up on everything you need to know about the KU men's basketball team. We'll preview the Oklahoma State game this weekend, and we'll introduce you to the Withy block party. Well, on Monday night, the Jayhawks played their first ever game in Morgantown, West Virginia. Despite getting off to an early 14-2 lead, Kansas's sloppy second half allowed the Mountaineers to cut the lead to 2 at 48-46. But much like the Hawks have done in many of their other games this season, they played well enough down the stretch with some big dunks to escape with a 61-56 win. So now there have been several games this season where the Jayhawks have not come ready to play, have made some careless turnovers and some silly mistakes. Yet Kansas is still undefeated in conference play. They have a 19-1 overall record and the #1 ranking in the coaches poll. But in order to keep that, Kansas has to limit the amount of turnovers it commits. And a lot of that starts with being alert on offense and taking better care of the basketball. Self was asked if ball control was a big issue with this team.
I get on Trav all the time because I don't think he always guards the way that he should guard, but the reality of it is he's been terrific on both ends. He's been consistent offensively, and even though he has some lapses defensively, I think he's still as good a perimeter defender as we have. One-word answer, yes. Could say hell yes, but one-word answer, yes.
How can that be remedied?
Well, I think that I don't think that I think that we are careless and lazy as much as anything else. You know, guys just pick the ball up, put the ball above their head. You know, the same way we turned it over against Oklahoma when they threw that little 2-2-1 press at us, and I go back and watch Oklahoma State game from last year. We did the exact same thing last year. I mean, it's we got to handle pressure a little bit more and handle trapping situations better. And we've always been a team that thrived and wanted so bad for other people to press or trap us, so bad, because our guards have always been.
Games have in common. Well, they wouldn't have been the same without fifth-year senior Travis Reliford. Last Monday in West Virginia, when the Jayhawks struggled to distance themselves from a below 500 Mountaineer team, Reliford helped put the team on his back, much like he did against Temple, and goes 7 for 9 from the field and finished with 15 points. Despite only averaging 13 points per game, Travis has scored in double figures for the past 17 games. But it's also what he's doing on the defensive side of the ball that has Coach Self very pleased.
I get on Trav all the time because I don't think he always guards the way that he should guard, but the reality of it is he's been terrific on both ends. He's been consistent offensively, and even though he has some lapses defensively, I think he's still as good a perimeter defender as we have in our league when he's right. I think that he probably does as much to help a team win maybe as any player in the country. But it's not strictly from a scoring or a rebounding, it's just from an intangible standpoint as much as anything.
While it's still unclear who Travis will match up against on Saturday, whether it's LeBron Nash or Marcus Smart, it's sure to be a fast-paced game that might get Kansas out of its recent scoring slump.
It's going to be a lot of fun because they like to play fast. We like to get up and play fast too. So, like I said, it's going to be a fun game overall.
The Cowboys come into Saturday's matchup with a 14-5 overall record and a 4-3 record in the Big 12. The Pokes' only win this season against a ranked opponent came way back in November when OSU pounded, at the time, the 6th-ranked North Carolina State Wolfpack. The Cowboys have won 2 straight, but are 0-4 in true road games so far this season. Led by a duo of explosive guards in Markel Brown and Marcus Smart, the Cowboys are a run-and-gun team that will look to push the tempo against Kansas. Smart averages close to 14 points per game and is as good as any freshman in the country.
I thought Marcus Smart could be National Freshman of the Year back when he was in high school, and he still can. You know, he's terrific. He's got size, but the thing about him is that I like so much, and I think that everybody likes so much, is that he can totally impact the program from a personality standpoint about as much as anybody can in America. He is a take charge guy. He's a winner. Certainly going to be a pro, and I think he's absolutely terrific.
Another player Bill Self and the Hawks know all too well is sophomore forward LeBron Nash. Nash had an offer to come play for Coach Self at Kansas, but on signing day he chose to play in Stillwater under Cowboys coach Travis Ford. This season, Nash is averaging 13.5 points per game. He isn't the only young player that has a chance to take Oklahoma State to the next level in the upcoming years. As Coach describes, the Cowboys are as good of a young team as you will see, and they only will continue to improve.
Absolutely, because they're so young. You know, Forte and Marcus are both freshmen, and LeBron's a sophomore, and he was hurt last year, and Brown's an underclassman, and or Markel may be a junior. I don't know if I remember right. Uric is getting so much better. Coggins is a sophomore. I mean, this is a team that's going to continue to get better. They're one of those teams.
And we'll take a short break, but when we come back, we'll talk about the Jayhawks' quest for a 9th consecutive Big 12 championship, as well as hear what big man Jeff Withy is doing to improve this season. Stay with us.
Ma'am, you forgot your purse.
Thank you.
Honesty, pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Welcome to Fogel's.
Beautiful, isn't it?
You expect options everywhere else. Why not with your medical treatment? Talk with your doctor to explore all your options and find what's right for you. Visit ahrq.gov.
Welcome back. In search of their 9th consecutive Big 12 championship, the Jayhawks currently hold a 2-game lead in the conference standings. The Hawks are 7-0 and have already beaten the 3 teams tied for second with the 5-2 conference record. That's Kansas State, Oklahoma, and Baylor. With the Cowboys' win over Iowa State last night, Oklahoma State comes into Saturday's contest currently alone in 5th place in the conference and 3 games back of KU. After Saturday's game, the Hawks hit the road for games at TCU and Oklahoma before returning home for a big Monday matchup with Kansas State. Though Kansas is off to a perfect start, there's still 11 more games to go, and Coach knows a lot can change in the Big 12 Conference.
I think it's unique to have everybody with 2 losses or with 3 losses, that are chasing you. We can't be better off than what we are, but I also know that we have tough games against those teams with 2 and 3 losses coming up that can make it turn on a dime. Not holding serve at home isn't really one game. It's like a 2-game swing. You think you get it, and you don't. So they gain a game on you, and you lose a game on you. It's kind of the way it is, at least in my eyes. So although it seems pretty good, and you have some of those teams with 2 losses, and us, we're playing each other a lot here the next couple of weeks. So who knows how it'll look a couple of weeks from now. But hey, we've been down 2 games to Texas in February and somehow won the league by a game, and we've been up. I think we were up 2 or 3 games, 10 games in, and end up not tying for the league championship. So it's still a lot of ball left, obviously.
On Saturday, when Kansas returns to Allen Fieldhouse, they'll carry the nation's longest current winning streak at 17 games, as well as the nation's 2nd longest home winning streak, 33 games. In the past 103 contests here in Lawrence, Kansas is 102-1 when playing inside the Fog, with that lone loss coming against the Texas Longhorns 2 years ago. Kansas welcomes Texas back into the Fieldhouse this year in 2 weeks on February 16th, along with ESPN's College Game Day. If that still isn't enough for you, throw in a ceremony at halftime to retire the jersey of one of KU's greats. Here's a hint.
10.8, here they come. Collins, 7 seconds to go in the game. Collins got pushed, falls down, Chalmers shoots. Oh! 3, the game tied, 2.1. Memphis inbounding, a half-court shot. Unbelievable shot. Overtime. Wow, how about that shot? That play was almost over when Sharon Collins got bumped, stumbled a little bit.
That's right. Mario Chalmers will have his number 15 jersey hung in the rafters with the other Jayhawk legends during a special halftime ceremony. And if that still isn't enough for you, if Kansas can continue to win the next 4 games before the Texas matchup, Bill Self will be going for career win number 500. It could definitely be a historic day inside Phog Allen Fieldhouse. But Kansas has to keep winning to get to that point, and as Coach explains, there are several really good teams in college basketball this year.
And I'll tell you this is something that's happened with college basketball this year. We thought a month ago there's a lot of pretty good teams. I think what you're seeing now is there's a lot more really good teams than what we thought a month ago. I think there's been a little bit of a separation with some of them, and you go back to watching Gonzaga, Butler. Hey, those were 2 big-time teams playing each other. There's a lot of really, really good teams with a chance to be great, probably more so than most people thought, I think, a month ago.
We'll take one more short break, but when we come back, we'll touch on next Wednesday's matchup between Kansas and TCU. Also, you're invited to something. Find out what when we come back.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas, a great place to be you.
No way. Hi. Hi. Hi.
Look around you. 1 in 4 kids in the U.S. faces hunger. It's not always easy to see the signs, but in this land of plenty, there are kids that don't know where they will get their next meal. Join Share Our Strength in Food Network and take the pledge to end childhood hunger here in America by 2015. Learn how at NoKidHungry.org. Their next meal could come from you.
Well, I'm sure you've heard about it by now, but the Withy block party is in full effect here at Kansas. The 7-foot senior, Jeff Withy, is averaging more than 4 blocks per game. And even though he hasn't had more than 4 in any game so far here in conference play, his shot blocking ability and length is what's causing chaos for teams trying to attack the basket. Withy has 7 double-doubles this season and 1 triple-double against San Jose State when he put up 16 points, 12 rebounds, and a career-high 12 blocks. On Saturday, Withy will be up against Cowboys big man Philip Urich. Though he averages just 4 points per game, his size and presence in the paint is what the Cowboys rely on. Withy knows Oklahoma State is capable of coming in here and pulling the upset.
They're athletic. They're a really good team. They play a little bit small. You know, it's going to be a challenge for sure. And you know, but at least we're at home. That will be helpful for us. But they're definitely a lot better than what their record or conference shows.
The inaugural season in the Big 12 hasn't gone the way TCU basketball would have liked. The Horned Frogs are 9-11 overall and sit at a winless 0-7 in conference play. While TCU has only allowed 2 teams to score more than 70 points against them, it's their offense that struggles. The Frogs average just 54 points per game and only have 1 player, Kyan Anderson, who averages more than 10 per game. Saturday, the Frogs travel to Austin to take on Texas in the battle for last place in the conference. Next Wednesday will mark Kansas's first visit to Fort Worth. And that wraps up this edition of Jayhawk Sports Talk. Tip-off on Saturday against Oklahoma State is scheduled for 3 p.m. in Allen Fieldhouse. And tip-off next Wednesday for the Jayhawks battle with TCU in Fort Worth is at 8. We'll be back next week to get you ready for the Hawks' trip to Norman to take on the Sooners, as well as part 2 of the Sunflower Showdown against the Wildcats. We'll leave you tonight with a video created by KU Athletics that creatively compiles some of Jeff Withy's more memorable blocks with a throwback from a few decades ago. For all of us here, I'm Matt Gasper and Rock Chalk Jayhawk. Now, enjoy the Withy block party.
Withy blocks his shot up into the stands. Shot blocked by Withy. I mean, he erased it. Withy blocked it. What else is new? The block party continues at Pass inside and a shot.